Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Forgiven AF Podcast. Remember, we use this as marketing material for our nonprofit Second Chance Mentors, our mentorship program. And man, I'm excited. Last week, first of all, let me apologize. It's been a few weeks since I've done an episode. Sometimes, you know, I love to do this and I love to provide value through this. And I enjoy actually making these episodes, but sometimes things get in the way and I fall off. So I apologize, but we're back and I'm going to have a few weeks in a row after this. So thank you for the grace and understanding. So last week, this was really cool. I just want to tell you about what's going on with the mentorship. Last week, my guest, Anvalon Elliot, and we got the opportunity to go to the Phoenix Academy, which is the school where we volunteer and we do work at. And we got to help put on this business etiquette and business attire course that they did. And man, I don't know. I get so much out of this, like doing stuff like that for these kids. And they were so excited. So like the teacher came in, he did a great job. He's putting this on. Like, I'm not trying to throw no shade. So the teacher came in and just started his like class and his lesson, right? But it was very bland. And the kids were like falling asleep. They were on their phones. And he was doing a great job. Like, again, and he's going out of his way to do this course. But what was cool is then he allowed me and Anvalon to kind of step in and give our 2 cents to it. And a lot of these kids at 16, 15, 17, they don't understand the importance of making good hand contact or eye contact and a good firm handshake. Like, to me, that's one of the most important things. Like, when you meet another grown man and you shake their hands, like immediately, whether you want it to be or whether it's good or not, you're being judged right away. And I wanted these kids to understand that and understand the importance of a good handshake and standing tall and using your voice, you know, not being scared to like talk out loud. You know, a lot of these kids say, yeah, you know, and it's like, no, like that's, and I just want to, what was cool is just trying to give these kids that edge so that they understand the importance of that stuff. And then we taught them how to tie their ties. And honestly, bro, I'm not going to lie, I was really surprised at how fast they picked it up. Yeah. You were a better teacher than I was because I feel like you've taught that before. I've done that class before, but I've never like really, I like the way you were like hands-on with the kid. Like you were doing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I was more standing back here. Let me show you how to do it. And you were like, nah, come here. You had your arms around them, like teaching. And I thought that was really cool. And even on a deeper aspect, a lot of these boys have never had a man like that in their life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I could just tell the way they were interacting with you that was really cool, man. So first of all, before we even get started, thank you for doing that with me and thank you for everything. Anvalon is one of my he's on our board, our advisory board and our board of directors with Second Chance Mentors. Jeez. Yeah, he's been with us for, man, pretty much since the start. I mean, it's been a year and a half at least. Yeah. And you've been a huge contributor. You always show up, man. You're always there. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, man.
So now, me and Anvalon, let me give you a quick background on what this podcast is about. Anvalon and I, man, I don't have like prepared notes for this. How did we meet?
we actually met at a forum.
Well, we did. That's it.
At the Dear Son.
Yeah, shout out to Derek Johns.
Shout out Derek Johns. D. Johns, the man.
So he had started called Dear Son, right? Is it called Dear Son?
The Dear Son podcast.
And then the Healthy Marriage is Dope stuff, right? That y'all do together? Yeah. So
Healthy Marriage is Dope.
Great. And I've said this before, I was super honored to be included in all that. It meant, that actually was something that meant a lot to me. I was the only white boy there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is normal in my life. I'm used to that. But it was actually really cool, man, that he thought enough about, you know, me and what I had going on to include me into that. And he basically just got 20 men that have good things going on in their life and was just digging into questions of like purpose. And there's a lot of really good content. If you guys are content in that, if you guys ever interested in looking at the Dear Son Network is like the full name of everything that he has going on.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so we met at that thing and we just kind of clicked. Like I felt like, we were talking about all the different things we have going on. And what immediately caught my attention about you is just your entrepreneur spirit. Like, and that's something that's attractive to me because I'm the same way. Like I'm going to find, you know what I mean? Yeah. I've always been like that. It used to be selling drugs, right? Like I'm not trying to glamorize that, but I've always found a way to make money working for myself. Right. You know? So real quick, can you tell my listeners kind of like, or our listeners or whatever, like where you're from, what your upbringing was like, just to kind of give them a base of who you are?
Sure thing. So first off, I am Anvalon Elliot. Boldly and unperfect in every way, but accepting of myself. I come from a very small town that's not so small now in this time, but it's still small. Monroe, Louisiana, which is Northeast Louisiana. Oh boy, how can I say that? Man, it was a lot to experience there. A lot of good things came from it, as well as a lot of a very strong sense of survivor spirit coming out of that place.
I've heard a lot about Monroe.
Yeah,
especially while I was in prison. There's a lot of people from prison that came from Monroe.
So with that being said, so you knew what the stereotype was coming out of Monroe, Louisiana. They didn't expect for a lot of us to make it. They didn't expect for a lot of us to be successful. They didn't expect for a lot of us to not have a criminal record or go down that road. Thank God for the people that I met there, the educators mostly. And outside of the educators, the people in the hood, man. I literally used to walk past the trap house every day on my way to school. I didn't like the school system or shall I say my parents didn't too much care for the school system that I was zoned for. So I literally used to walk across the tracks every morning to go to school, right past the trap house every morning. And did
you know at a young age what was going on there?
Know exactly what it was. It was all around, but and it might sound odd, but it was a sense of safety there. Because
how many of your friends did you see growing up go that direction? You know what I mean? Like
majority of them.
Yeah,
majority of them. Man, I was a popular loner. Like everybody knew me, but I really didn't hang with anybody. I was in the house with my mom watching movies until I was about 15, man. Until I met a girl. It was that type of deal. But when I was outside, as I said, walking past the trap house, they knew who I was. They knew what I wanted and what I was about. So they literally used to watch me go to school, and they knew when I was walking back home.
So in a way, they weren't like even trying to bring you into that life, but they still kind of in a way like had your back. Like you felt like almost like you said, a sense of protection from it.
Oh yeah, man. And I'm the last of 4 children, man. I'm the last born of 4 children. My dad was always present in my life. He was always home. He was there. And they
That's
knew
so
my dad.
important too.
They knew my dad, so it wasn't a thing where it was like, I'm gonna bring you into this. He wasn't having it.
I love that. I feel like that's probably one of the reasons you were able to like stay in the house and stay that healthy, you know what I mean? That safe environment, you know what I mean? Because you weren't out looking for a man to kind of take you in as far, because that's how that's like one of the leading reasons why kids join gangs and stuff, because they don't have that sense of role model or that sense of purpose, And
I had other role models outside of my dad. So it wasn't just all of the pressure on him, because my dad did the absolute best that he could with what he knew.
Yeah.
And whether you believe it or not, he was more hands off with me than my siblings. And we didn't have that conversation until later on in life, where I asked him, hey man, why weren't you as hands on with me? And his exact answer was, I didn't know how to teach you the things that you wanted to know. So the best thing that I could do was keep my hands off of you to keep you pure and to let you go the route that you were going. Right? Different.
Yeah, it is. I don't even know. That's hard.
It's very difficult. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
Until I understood where my true validation came from.
I was going to say, did you ever feel like, Dad, why don't you treat me the same as you treated her? Like, did it ever make you feel like less than or anything?
I felt like that until I was 23 years old.
See, that's
when I had that conversation with my dad at 23 years old. And the story of how it actually came out was really funny. I just had my son, and we were visiting my parents, and we were leaving. And he was like, all right, love y'all. Love y'all? What you mean love me? So I called my sister, and I was like, man, your daddy just told me he loved me.
Your daddy.
Yeah, it's a insider that me and my siblings do. When the parents did something that's out of the way, it's your mom, your dad. I ain't. Yeah. I was like, your dad just told me he loved me. And she's like, what? Is he sick? I said, I don't know, something going on. But shortly after that, I was like, okay, maybe he's getting a little softer in his old age. So I had a conversation with him. I was like, man, was I too different for you to love? Was that the reason that you didn't really have as much involvement with me as them? And he told me, he was like, man, I didn't know how to give you what you wanted. You were academics, you were musically inclined, you were like, because I found various ways to express myself.
I love that, dude.
And he was like, the best thing I could do is keep my hands off of that, because I didn't know anything about any of that.
See, but he was present.
Yeah. Oh, he was there. He was there. Still to this day, I'm a grown man. I'm 33 years old. The only time I truly sleep all the way through the night with no pressure, no jumping up in the middle of the night to check the doors, is when my dad's visiting. Really?
That's because there's a sense of, there's that security of knowing, even if he wasn't as lovey-dovey with you as he was as your brothers and sisters, you knew that sense of protection and safety was there.
Oh yeah, safety was never an issue. never an issue with my dad when it came down to. He was never gonna let any harm come to me.
Man,
period.
Thank you for sharing that, bro. Because that's that takes some vulnerability, and a lot of people wouldn't be willing to open up about because that's hard. I can't even imagine. Because my dad was the complete opposite. It was I love you every time we left each other's presence. You know what I mean? Like I love you. You know what I mean? My dad. So I don't know. That would be really hard. I feel like for me because I'm that type of person that I need that sort of like positive affirmation and those words of whatever. You know what I mean? Like
I still received it.
Yeah,
it just didn't come from my dad. So. I had uncles. Shout out James Klein. You know James Klein. Shout out to my uncle Corey Lewings. I had males that were present.
I didn't realize that James Klein was your actual uncle.
Yeah, that's my uncle.
You know how when people everyone's their people's uncle sometimes.
No, that's my actual uncle, man. So a lot of this drive that you see, I watched James. So when James came around, I was 10, 11, somewhere in there. And it was immediately, oh, nephew, I'm coming to pick you up. That was the first time I'd ever seen a recording studio.
So that's someone else that deserves a lot of credit when it comes to my life is James Klein. And this podcast, he was the one that pushed me to start this podcast. He did everything that I didn't know how to do anything. So he was if you go back and watch my podcast, like the first 2 seasons or so, you'll see it's a beautiful studio with like blue, white lights. It's like that's his studio.
Yeah.
He did everything for me and got me going in the beginning.
So
basically free.
And he's a cultivator. His view on things. You will tell him idea that you have, and within the first 2 or 3 minutes, he's already visualized.
That's so cool. I had no idea that y'all was really family like that.
Yeah, man. So that's my aunt, which is my mother's sister. That's her husband. That's
cool.
So they were a big, really, really, really influential couple in my life.
So when did y'all come to Texas? What happened so you're 15, you were still in Monroe.
Yeah. So we moved to Texas. Actually, I was 16. We moved to Texas right before my 17th birthday.
Okay.
It was my senior year of high school. My aunt wanted better. And when she left Louisiana, my mother said, okay, we're leaving too. We're gonna get out of there. We're gonna get a better life. We're gonna do some things different, which I am thankful for. Yeah. It's priceless. I couldn't repay them for getting me out of that space and broadening my horizons. Because once I got to Mansfield, I did what the average teen did when you take them away from their friends and all their familiar spaces. I rebelled a little bit. Yeah. And it was like, oh, I just stay in the house. I went to work, I went to school, and I went home. And then I actually met some friends. I started to go to the games. I started to see how it was. And that was back before Mansfield, what Mansfield now is. Yeah. Our biggest problem was trying not to get a ticket by Motorbike Mike. We spent Friday nights at the game. After we leave the game, everybody hit Double Dave's. I don't know if you remember Double Dave. Yeah, Double Dave's used to be next to the movie theater in Mansfield. We leave Double Dave's, probably hit a movie if they got the late night one showing. If not, everybody hit Cold Stone. So they had and
they're all right next to each other, right?
The pizza place, Cold Stone, in the movie theater, and it was safe. It was safe. You didn't have to watch your back. You didn't have to worry about every time we go out and we're together, somebody's gonna get shot or it's gonna be a big brawl somewhere. It wasn't like that. It was a peaceful culture, and that's what made me love Mansfield. That's what made me bring my family back to Mansfield.
Yeah, that's cool, and that's not what you were used to. So coming from Monroe, where you're always having to watch your back, and or even if it's not like you personally, but people are always trying to have to watch their back when they're out there. Man,
you got a squad.
Yeah,
bro, it's not a thing where it's like, okay, hey, if I stay to myself, I don't have to worry about nobody bothering me. We're gonna go. Somebody gonna pick you out. Yeah, you're gonna be somebody's choice at some point. So you just gotta be ready for that. And then I come from a household where I had 2 older brothers and an older sister, and I grew up in the hood. So I'm a squad with you. You want to box? We gonna box. Yeah. And that was just a thing. So coming out of that mindset, moving to Mansfield helped me to be released from that weight.
That's cool. That's really cool. So then, and you shared with me a story before. I think it's a couple years later from what you're talking about right now that you had gotten into some stuff because of your older brothers.
Man, Terminalist thing. So when we first moved to Mansfield, it was myself, my mom, and my sister, with my aunt as well. She used to live a little ways from us, but we had found peace. Peace. Everything was cool. Everything was copacetic, moving just fine. And then my brothers came and they moved here, and still with that Louisiana mindset, things went a little different.
Yeah.
My brother had a situation with some guys. I don't know the exact particulars of it or how that part went, but it ended up the final stage to that being said was a shootout in my front yard. 4th of July, 2009. Some individuals tried to force their way into my family home while my mom and my dad were there sleeping. They were trying to fight them off. My dad actually left out of the house to try to fight them off so they wouldn't get in there to my mom, where he's fighting these guys with guns literally in our front yard. I was visiting home in Louisiana at that time when this happened, and I came back and it was a horrific scene the entire summer. I was stalked for a while there by these individuals, saying what they were going to do to me. They were demanding money from me, things of that matter. I'm a little different from my brothers. I'll fight you if I got to fight you, but I don't want any problems, and I'm not very confrontational that way. And then it all headed out right at the end of summer. Came home from a day out with friends, and the guys called my phone. Hey, we're on the way to your. Oh, you don't have my money. I'm on the way to your house. My family was there. My brothers was there. My brother-in-law had just got back in from what he called the sandbox, military guy.
Yeah, like Afghanistan or something.
Yeah,
or Iraq or something.
Yeah, and they were all outside. And coming back in from being with my friends, and they were all outside, and I got that call, panicking, freaked out, because I already had PTSD from being stalked the entire summer.
Yeah.
I remember walking out of my house and seeing a car pull up in my front yard in front of my driveway. You got guys coming from down the street that way, guys coming from that way. The car was full of guys jumping out. I remember hearing my name called and 2 shots being fired. And then I remember my brother pushing me down behind him and starting to fire. Literally, probably the distance from me to you was where I saw a man lose his life. Literally, I can still see it as if it was yesterday. And that changed the trajectory of my whole life. What I saw as my way out of all of the things that we had lived and experienced.
Yeah.
I watched it disappear in that very moment. I had PTSD for a while there. I really didn't leave the house for about 12 months after that. My brother went on trial. He was found innocent. Self-defense. Because as you know, here in this great state of Texas, you have a right to protect yourself, your home, and your family.
Yeah, and they ran up on your house.
Yeah. So they
weren't even really. It had nothing to do with you, right? The whole situation.
Nothing to do with me. I was the weakest link.
Yeah, so they just felt like you were the one that they could get to.
I was the weakest link, man. That situation was so much deeper than that, and this was not the first time that these individuals has had that type of situation or had been in that type of situation. They were known individuals, but I mean,
yeah, it is. It's something that you lived through,
and it was a part of my story. Yeah. It was a very influential part of my story because it's something that I never want my children to have to experience.
I feel like it's caused you, because some people could go 2 directions with that. Some people could be like, "Oh no, now we got to handle this," or someone could be like, "I don't want anything to do with that type of lifestyle," because you already didn't want anything to do with that type of lifestyle. You know,
right?
It's not like you were. So it's kind of crappy that you had to go through that and had to deal with that when you were already trying to avoid that type of lifestyle. You know what I mean?
It's boundaries, man. So I'm a firm believer in God.
Amen. Me too.
So if you're not, this may be a good time for you to log off, because I'm gonna give a lot of credit there, man. There's no way possible that we should have made it through that situation.
Yeah.
There's no way possible that gunshots hit the garage behind me, and my parents' room was right behind the garage, and it did not affect them. They slept through the whole situation.
Yeah.
Legitimately. So it was nothing but God. And a lot of times God will do for you what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah, and he'll allow us to go through things that we can use as our testimony to help other people. So that's a big. So okay, now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So like I said earlier, one of the things that I, as a friend, was most attracted to you about was your just entrepreneur spirit. You know what I mean? Like, and can you kind of tell me what inspired that? Like, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur, and how did your journey begin? Like, because I know you've had a bunch of different businesses. Walk me through kind of like your whole entrepreneurship lifestyle.
You know what's crazy? I didn't start my first business until my son was born.
Okay.
I knew that I've always wanted to be a boss in some type of way.
Yeah.
But I didn't get out of that 9-to-5 mindset until my son was born. My wife and I were newly married, had just had my son, and I was working a 8-to-5. So I would get up, I would start my morning, my wife is asleep, my son is asleep. I go to work. I come home on lunch break. I'm here with you for about 30 minutes. Then I'm back to work. Get off work at 5. Takes me about another 30 minutes to get home. So now I got until 5:30 and his bedtime's at 8.
Yeah.
I have no time with my child. And he's growing in every moment that I'm not pouring into him. I'm allowing the world to pour into him. And that wasn't something that I wanted. So, Eric Thomas says that there's going to come a time in life where you got to have something harder than yourself to fight for. Because if it's just about you, you're going to break.
That's good.
My wife and my children are my something harder to fight for.
I like that.
So that is what really inspires. It really awakens that dog in me.
That's good.
You
have to have that why. Like that why's got to be, and like you said, it's got to be bigger than ourselves.
It has to be, and I want better for them. So like they live a lifestyle that I've always dreamed of when I was a kid. So mommy and daddy, they see mommy and daddy as they're going to school.
Yeah.
I eat lunch with my children once a week. I volunteer for recess duty. We sit on the PTA. My wife has availability. She's long-term sub now.
Yeah. So
she substitutes at the school that they go to. So they see mommy all throughout the day.
That's cool.
If that's the case. And I love the fact that she has availability. Hey, if you want to relax and take care of the home, because taking care of me and the children, it's a full-time job within itself.
Yeah. And she still works too.
And she still works. But she has the choice.
That's cool. Yeah. So it's like, hey, if you want to do this, then it's cool, but you're not forced into it. Like, don't feel, that's good.
My love for her is a sacrificial love. I'm willing to sacrifice me to make sure that y'all are okay. And that's where a lot of that entrepreneur spirit comes from in my mind. Man, my mind does not turn off. I won't ever go back to those circumstances that I had to live in Louisiana. I won't ever go back to it, and I won't ever allow my children to experience that. Therefore, I grind.
That's good.
I remain innovative. I remain coachable. That was the hardest part. Learning to just be quiet and listen.
Yeah.
And truly getting that focus. Because we've had this conversation before where I asked you, what's the difference between a light bulb and a laser?
Yeah. The focus. Yeah. That was good. I'd never heard that before, and it's so true. Let me ask you this question. And it's kind of maybe a controversial question, but whatever. I think it's important, especially with all the kids in the program that we work with. And I'm realistic, right? Especially in Mansfield, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Were there any specific challenges that you faced being a young Black entrepreneur, and how'd you overcome that?
Man, you know what? There's a lot of controversy out there because you have to pick your battles. I see a lot of Black-owned businesses, Black-owned business. And if I don't support that, then I'm a Judas. And then if I do support that, it's like what happens to the other cultures that I work with.
But I've never heard you, and I just want to point this out, I've never heard you mention Black-owned business before. You know what I mean? Like that's not something you now I'm talking about for yourself. Right? Like, you don't advertise that you're a Black-owned business. I've never seen you do that.
Because I'm a person.
Yeah. Just and like I love that. That's what I think that's good.
And everybody else are people. No, I do not admonish the fact that Black society has received, they were dealt a really bad hand with a lot of things that happened in the past. But we cannot influence change by being stuck in that past. If you truly want to influence change, go get some money.
Yeah, that's so
true. Go get some money and make a difference. I'm not asking you to give me 40 acres and a mule. I'm going to get my 40 acres and a mule.
Yeah.
And then after I get my 40 acres and a mule, I'm going to show the next person how to get their 40 acres and a mule. And we're going to keep it rolling and we're going to keep it working.
I respect that.
And that's the only thing that you could do. Be confident and bold in who you are. I'm me. I'm a man. I'm Anvalon Elliot. And I want to show you who I truly am. And I'm not going to take away your decision whether you want to deal with me or not. This is me and this is who I am. And if you're a part of my tribe, you're going to accept that. If not, God bless you and God keep you.
Yeah, that's good. I respect that. What strategies have you found most effective, like as far as, because you have a huge network, so as far as these business relationships, everybody in Mansfield. Every time I go somewhere with you, they're like, oh, Anvalon. And I thought I knew a lot of people.
Right.
How important is your relationships? I'm not even sure kind of the question I'm asking, but what have you used, or what is something that to be able to build this community and all these relationships that you have?
Man, you know what? Being honest about who I am. And I never meet a stranger. I am my own hello into the room.
Yeah.
I'm my own greeting into the room. Literally, if I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you had to tattoo something on your forehead that said exactly who you are, while you walking through the door, mine would be hello. I just want to meet you. If I get nothing else from this, at least I have met you and I have shared some type of positive energy with you. You will be amazed at the effect that it could have on someone. Hello, how are you, man? You doing all right today?
I think that's really good. Something else that I want to say about you that I feel like has been a reason that you're so successful in all your relationships is I've seen you around hundreds of different people and you're the exact same person around each one of those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's rare. Like that's rare. I even struggle with that. I even find myself sometimes playing different cards in different rooms. You know what I mean? Which at some point you kind of have to, but I feel like you're always the exact same. You've treated people that have nothing to offer with respect, and then you treat the same way the people that have everything to offer you. You know what I mean? And I really respect that about you. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
Let me, before you move on from that one, let me say something, because you said something about me valuing relationships. When you began to value your relationships more than the benefit that you get from those relationships,
that's good.
When you value the people,
yeah,
because you can buy more things, you can get more money, you can start more businesses, you can do all of that, but you can't get more loyal people. You can't get more kind-hearted people. I've taken major losses in order to keep my relationships intact. I'd rather me take a financial loss than for me to lose you.
Yeah, I've seen, and I've dealt with the same thing a lot too in the same situation. Was I've lost a lot of people that I would have taken a bullet for over them having the opportunity to maybe make a quick lick off me or to step up in some sort of relationship, and then our relationship's completely over with because that person found like one way to benefit of, you see what I mean? And that's totally putting like whatever they can get that step up over. Most people are going to take that step up over relationships.
I was that person once before.
Yes.
I lost a lot of people. I had to get some integrity.
That's good. And that's exactly what it is. It's really about doing the right thing when no one's looking, you know? Like you can act the same and do the right thing around all different people. This is one that I really like. This question's really good. And in case y'all haven't picked up on this, the reason I wanted to bring Anvalon on here was to discuss entrepreneurship, discuss the skills that he has when it comes to entrepreneurship, because the way he carries himself and all the different businesses he has, we never even went into that. We haven't even discussed all the different things you've done. Actually, let's take a break real quick. And can you walk us through all the different business ventures that you've had up until now, so just people can kind of know what the credibility is with that?
You know what? We'll go through the significant ones.
Okay.
There was a lot of failures there, man. There was a lot of startups that didn't
But that's
quite
okay. But actually, you need to put that out there, because the reason you are who you are today and the reason that you are so good in business, it's because you failed and learned lessons through some of those failures. You know what I mean? Because if we just talk about your successful ones, then people are going to think if they start a business and they fail the first time, oh, I'm not him, or I can't be him. You see what I mean?
That doesn't work, man. So once, remember me telling you about that 8 to 5 that I had. Once I left that 8 to 5, my wife and I started a company called Details on Wheels.
What, right? Car detailing?
Car detailing. Details on Wheels, man. I had a dually truck. I had a big water tank on the back of that bad boy. I'd never forget it because it used to rock when the water was moving in the deal. It was so bad. Like we did pretty well because we did good. We did good service.
Yeah,
and gave good service. But man, that's when I learned that 103-degree Texas heat ain't no punk.
That's a good one.
You know, and man, it was such the struggle. But my wife's a rider, so I got to give a shout out. Shout out to Denisha Elliot. Oh my goodness, this woman here, she's a true rider. She was nursing my son at the time, so she was sitting in the back of that mega cab, Dodge 3500 dually, while I'm out there getting the cars together. She videotaping and taking pictures. One of the proudest moments of her life. She with me, and she's watching, and I'm out there taking care of it and doing it, and she's handling the bookkeeping from the back seat while nursing the baby, and the whole. It was a process.
That just gave me chills, man, because you and your wife have made. Anyways, that's awesome. Your wife has rode with you through some crazy.
Yeah, she gonna ride.
She's
man.
rode for you. Yeah.
You know, if by chance I was ever to go missing, and I knew that I wouldn't be afraid. I knew somebody was gonna come find me. Yeah. It would be her. She gonna find me.
That women gonna find.
Yeah. But you know what? I share locations these days with her, so I ain't really worried about anything.
So do I. I share a location with my wife. I respect that.
And so, fellas, it is a safety feature. Don't be afraid to share location and accountability.
I like it for the accountability aspect.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I really do. I like it for the accountability
definitely.
aspect.
So that was Details on Wheels.
What was next?
Once I learned that was way too much. I was not getting down with that. So many people wanted to know how to do what I was doing. So I went into consulting. Okay, let me show you how I set my business up, how I set my detail shop up, and went from that one. That's when I learned that I do not like dealing with people. like that on a day-to-day basis where you're all up in my space.
Yeah.
I'm a social butterfly out in public, but once I'm in, just leave me alone, right? So that deal didn't work. After that, I actually got my first taste of real estate. I got my first taste of real estate. It was with a mortgage company. I was a loan officer's assistant.
Okay.
And that's when I really started to see like, oh man, this is some really good stuff moving through real estate. And I began to learn what contracts look like, what amendments look like, what third parties look like. And as I'm seeing the documentation, because we're processing a lot of this stuff as it's going through and seeing what the credibility needed to be for that. Okay, cool. This is something I can do.
Yeah.
So that's when I dipped my toe into it. It just so happened that at the same time that I was doing that, my wife actually came to me and said, hey, I think I want to do real estate. It was like, you in my mind? How you know what I'm thinking? So we began, she got her license. I was just her back office because I was still working out exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we started to process deals. But you know what, I skipped one. All this was going on because my financial stability was already in place by that point. Because I started with tax software.
That's the one.
I started with tax software, man. Shout out to Germany Williams, Arthur Williams, CEO tax software. They gave me my first start with taxes. So I spent 2 years learning the process of filing taxes and tax law and going to the conventions with them. It took them that entire 2 years to convince me to go ahead and get out there as a preparer. So I started to prepare taxes, but I didn't really want to touch that many at first, but it kind of blew up. Somebody told somebody that told somebody, and my network supported me more than anyone else in this world by telling people. And I had random folks calling me and asking for things and, hey, can we get it done? And then I moved from that point to the tax software side.
Yeah.
And the reason for the transition was I could help more people. I could have stayed in the preparer role and just grew my business, but that wasn't my role. I'm a cultivator, much like my mentors around me.
Yeah.
I want to create a space for others to have success, or if not more success than I've had, by showing them the mistakes that I've made, how to get past it, and giving them the role, because everybody wants to be a boss, but it's a lot of gatekeepers out here in the world. Yeah. Nobody wants to show you how to truly get to the money.
It's so true.
Which is a sad shame. So they showed me. They gave me the ropes. They put me in place. They put me in place with my own tax software.
What's cool also, and not to interrupt you, is when I first met you, I'm just verifying what you just said, was you had a whole bunch of people that you were bringing under you and letting them do the tax software under you for other people. Like, you know what I mean? So you didn't just keep it to yourself. You had a whole bunch of people working under you doing the tax stuff.
It's a lot of, man, you know what? And the ego person that I used to be, it used to upset me that I didn't get credit for a lot of the people that I helped and a lot of people that I put in position.
Yeah.
But now it just does my heart some good to know that I changed the trajectory of your family's dynamic.
No, that's good.
And I'm good with that, because it's a lot of, like, I don't even have a team of those individuals anymore. My team is made up of 5 women.
Yeah, you're free. We ain't even there yet, though. We're not even to that business venture yet. So you had the tax software going, then you got into the real estate stuff.
Well,
right?
Well, so that's the kicker, right?
Okay.
So the same, my team is the same for every business that I touch.
Okay.
It's the same 5 women for every business that I touch. They are the operation. They're all of the moving pieces behind the tax software. And that's what made that work. That's how I'm able to be in all of these different places at once, because they take care of their back office for me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, in every way. And, my wife heads it off.
Yeah. She's good at that.
Yeah.
So go from the tax stuff into the real estate.
So from the tax into the real estate. Once we got into real estate, we started buying these homes for clients, but shall I say representing clients, listing homes for clients. But then we noticed, man, there's a lot of clients out here. They love these homes, but they lack vision. So we'll see this home and it'll be $200,000, but if it had an upgraded kitchen and bathrooms, then it'll be worth $350,000.
Yeah. So
at that point, it became, okay, that might be a little niche. So that's when I started the fixing and flipping portion of the properties. I got with a private money lender, and he showed me how to orchestrate it and move things around, and that's where the fix and flip portion came from. So our real estate started to transition. It was, hey, my wife take care of all of the listing and the purchases and everything with the clients. I'll take care of the more of the construction and the general contractor portion and making sure the fix and flips and all of those numbers and everything work, and we'll meet in the middle. But then we learned that there was something missing, right?
Yeah.
Because every time it came time for us to close on a property, it was a big mix-up. We weren't getting communication. There was subpar service with the documentation that needed to come out. And then birthed my title company.
And that's your new baby. That's the main thing. Yeah.
That's my new baby, man. We're in the process of a transition now with the title company. The first thing is, to any entrepreneur out there that's going out there, please don't just jump into an industry and feel like you're going to take over without any knowledge of what you have going on. I had 2 title companies that have poured into me, and they did all of my back office for me for a little while there, and literally showed me step by step how title works.
So while we're on that, you can obviously say that you really believe in the power and the importance of mentorship, right?
Oh, you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
You can't just jump out there and say that you're going to make this happen. And I'm going to read these books and I'm going to do that. What you read there is totally different from life experiences.
Give me a couple benefits of having a mentor.
Okay. I get a chance to stand on, this is the most important part. I get a chance to step on the shoulders of what they've done.
That's good.
So my success is pivoted way higher than anyone could have ever done just starting out on their own.
People know you have that mentor in your pocket too. That's good.
And it gives you some credibility.
It does.
Because they know what you come from. It's like if you have good parents and your parents are already at the school and the teachers see you and you do something wrong and they're like, now I know for a fact that you know better than this.
That's good.
And it's the same way with mentorship.
Yep.
So that's thing number one. Thing number two, man, you get a shoulder to cry on. Entrepreneurship is not easy.
It's not easy. Most people they just see the glamorous side of owning a business. People have no idea that the sleepless nights, stressing over where the money going to come in.
Failures.
Yeah.
The failures along, especially when no offense to any women, especially when you're a man and you have to be a husband, you have to be a father, you have to be and now you got to be a business owner. And when you have people that are working with you, because I don't believe in people working for you. When you have people that are working with you, you're responsible for their families. Because when you don't produce, their families don't eat.
The journey of entrepreneurship is extremely bipolar. The highs are awesome, but the lows are low. So you have to learn how to get used to that. Like for me in the gym business, January through April, life is amazing. Oh my God, April through December, we're just hanging on to what we can. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But people don't see that side of it. They just see everything looks great. Oh, it's awesome. But no, it's the highs and lows of owning a business is rough.
And that's where the mentors come in at.
Yeah.
So we can go all the way back to the tax side of it, where I've had disastrous years where it's like, man, look, ain't nothing moved. What really happened here? Especially after COVID, because there was a time where now everyone has a tax software company.
Did it blow up like that? See, I don't know that industry.
Someone sold them a myth that, hey, you can jump in here and you can learn about this in a 4-hour training and you can jump in there and put people's lives in your hand and everything is great. It's going to be good. There's no consequences for the mistakes that you make. And now the market's flooded.
I didn't know that.
It's so saturated. And now you have to pick and choose as an entrepreneur, because I've had individuals come back to me, hey, look, I want to do this. And no, thank you. I refuse this service.
Yeah.
Because you have to have integrity about you and what you have going on. And on those years where I have to choose to have a less profitable year in order to preserve the integrity of my business, these are the types of deals that you have to know how to navigate these seasons. And that's where mentors come in at. Yeah. So my mentor told me, hey, man, there's a lot of things going on out here. Don't accept the money. Vet everything properly to make sure that you and your family are safe. Or as he used to always say to me, protect your assets.
Yeah, that's good. Because not all money is good money.
Not all money is good money.
Quick.
Because when the penalties come down, they're coming all the way down.
Yeah, and you lose way more than you got, so it's definitely not worth it.
So protect your assets, man. Watch what you're doing, and then keep it that way. So that's the second thing. And I'm gonna give you one more, man. The third most important thing, like any other things in life, and the reason that God put multiple of us out here the way He has, you get to do life with somebody.
Yeah, the community aspect of it.
You get to do life with somebody, man. I can call my mentors whether it's because I want to scream in the phone and cry in the phone, or whether, hey man, I just closed this deal and I'm so excited, man. I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I feel like such the dog in me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Or if it's one of those dark times and I don't even have to call them. If they know that they hear from me several times a day, so that if they don't hear from me, they're calling me. Hey man, what you got going on? And if I don't answer the phone when they call me, want to know what they're gonna do next? They're pulling up.
Yeah, they're gonna come check on you.
They come and knock on the door.
That's good.
You've been one of those. Anvalon, I ain't heard from you, man. You doing all right over there, bro? Oh yeah, I'm good. All right, love you, dog. Hit you later, man. That is necessary, especially in the male community.
But that's one of the problems. That's one of the things I try to get out there. I put this post on this story on social media. I think it was yesterday or the day before, because I went to go see my counselor. And I left leaving my counselor feeling awesome. Like I knew I needed that. And so I put it out there. I was like, man, you guys need to, like, if you're going through anything, man, find someone to talk to, because so many men feel like they have to handle it themselves or figure it out themselves or keep it all bottled up and act like everything's great. But what they don't realize is that's going to come to a head. Like you're either going to flip out, or you're going to go into a depression, or you're just going to live that miserable life acting like you got it together, because that is miserable. Acting like life is good when it's not, and trying to maintain that's stressful and miserable itself, you know?
Voluntary bipolar.
Yeah.
You're volunteering to be bipolar in a bipolar state. Man, you know what? I'm thankful for my mom, Dina Elliot. Thankful for my aunt, Deneen Elliot. Thankful for my other aunt, Monique Elliot. Those three women right there, they showed me the value in communication. My aunt has been a counselor almost as long as I've been alive. And her teachings and her helping me navigate life, especially going through all of the things that I experienced coming up in those rough conditions that I came up in.
Yeah.
Her and my mom and my aunt, them being able to teach me how to properly communicate, helped me to regulate my emotions.
That's good.
So much in a way that it saved me from a lot of situations. And that's one of the things that I love to try to teach the young men in our mentorship.
Yeah.
No one's teaching them how to regulate their emotions. No one's here to listen to them.
Yeah.
No one's here to, if you want to call me and scream, call me and scream.
Yeah.
If you want me to pull up,
It's so true.
I'll come pull up. You know what? I saw one of the young men from our mentorship the other day while I was in Olive Garden having lunch with my wife, and he came and tapped me on the shoulder. And I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" He goes, "Oh, man, look, man, I've been waiting to see you." I said, "Oh, what's going on?" He said, "Man, I lost my phone and everything. I ain't had your number, so I've been waiting to see you. I'm taking classes to be a real estate inspector.
That's so cool, right?
I want to do real estate like you." Man, when I tell you I've never stuck my chest out further, it was like, yeah, man.
It is cool.
I get down with it, and then he sent me a text. I gave my number. He sent me a text. I woke up to it the next morning. He said, "Thank you for what you've done. I really appreciate you, Shawn, and the guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for me?" I gave him the advice. He said, I'm going to take this to heart, man, and I'm going to stay in contact with you, and I'm going to stay connected with you. Want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
He called me when I first sat down in here.
Oh, really?
I just gave him his first home inspection
Oh, that's freaking cool.
with one of my clients.
Yeah. That's really cool. I heard you call him when you were in here.
Yeah.
How cool is that? You know what I mean? I remember the first time you brought him to a group.
Yeah.
I think it was when like one of the retired cowboys was talking or something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you first brought him. It was a good kid too. I remember his mom had reached out to you and said, "Hey man, will you?"
He had a fight. He had a fight at school, and the mom was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And she was like, and the husband, who wasn't his father, but he was his father figure, he just left him.
Yeah.
And he started acting out, and that's when he started fighting. And she called me. I picked him up that morning. He came to the mentorship with us. He enjoyed it too. Did you see the smile on his face that
He was
day?
a good kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
I'm
that's
thankful
awesome.
we were able to help.
Yep. All right. So let me I got a couple more questions for you. Okay.
Come on with it.
What would you say it was your biggest failure so far in business? And not so much to highlight the failure, but what was the lesson learned from it? You think for a second, because I don't even think I gave you that question ahead of time. Because you had mentioned failures in it, and I could tell you what mine was. You go first?
You know what? Yeah, I'm going to let you go first.
I'll give what you think about it. So when we were first opening the gym, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about properties. I didn't know anything about like getting a place, you know what I mean? And we had to find a spot to get. And I found this location right on Cooper, and it was completely a shell of a spot. Like the concrete wasn't even poured in the back because it still needed like plumbing in it. Like it was a bare, you know what I mean? Like, and I talked Christy into it, and we, you know, at the time we put almost literally every penny we had into building that place out and creating this gym. And what I had learned was I wish I would have just found a place that was already built out with bathrooms and stuff and just moved our stuff into that one instead of trying to like create. I mean, it would have saved us $150,000. Like that, you know what I mean? Like that we basically just threw away in a way.
Somebody else's place.
Yeah, that we just built. Exactly. We don't even own it. So we put $150,000 into making this place nice for someone else that owns it. So, I mean, I would say that's probably my biggest one. And that's more of like on a monetary level, but I wish I would have had a mentor or had found someone and got advice from on that situation before I just jumped into that.
It would have been contracts for me. Like, don't do business with friends just because they're friends. Don't accept
still put them under contract.
Yeah, man. Look, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen.
That's a good one,
right? So, I had a real estate transaction. We were all investing in this property, and they're my friends. I'll do it with them, of course, no problem. And I threw about $75,000 into it. And the worst part was I didn't tell my wife. I just did it. I didn't consult her. I didn't nothing. I'll do it. It'll be all right. And we went through the process. Once we got to the process, we get down to, I want to say about the 75% mark. And it's like, all right, let's sit down. Let's talk numbers. Some type of way. These were the type of people, they feel like if I have a conflict with you, that means I don't have debt with you anymore. So they decided to have conflict with me, knowing that the type of person I'm not finna fight you. I'll walk away before I do that. And when I looked at it, I was really screwed because I didn't have any contracts in place. I didn't have attorney look up. I didn't do any of that. And it just showed me like.
That's a good lesson when it comes to entrepreneurship for sure, that like someone could be your best friend in the world. And if your best friend in the world doesn't understand the importance of putting this contract together, then he's probably either one, knows that it's not going to be, that something's not good in this business. Because if your best friend in the world is going into and I'm just saying best friend in the world, it could be acquaintance, whatever, is going into a business proposition with you and not willing to put a contract in place, why? Like, why would they not be willing? If they have pure motives, they should be willing to do that, It's
not personal. It's just business.
It's just business, and that's good.
So, and therefore, and I know that's not my strong suit, right? The documentation and everything else.
Yeah.
So guess what I did? I got somebody to do it. That is one of the.
That's good.
You can't be everywhere at once. You can't do everything. Get you a team.
That's good.
Get you a bona fide and verified team.
That's what I think it was Elon Musk said. I didn't graduate from Harvard. He said, but all 10 of those guys over there that work for me did. That's probably not even the college, but he made something like that. He goes, I didn't even graduate from Ivy League school, but all 10 of them dudes over there that work for me did. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's another thing, is hire the right people and get around the right people. And that'll make a big difference,
Become a project manager. That's going to be the last thing. So I don't hold you from your other questions.
No.
Learn that as a leader, your job is not to know and operate every portion of the business. You want to know what it is, but your job is to manage people.
That's good. Learn how to what is it called? Not diversify, not dictate. Learn how to, when you're delegate. Learn how to delegate. That's good. Yeah, that's one of my biggest struggles to this day.
The right people. So you put them in place so you don't have to worry about, and then you let it go. You let the people do what the people are supposed to do, and you manage the people, not the projects.
That's good. I love that. All right, I have two more questions for you. Okay. And I'm just excited to hear the difference on this. This one is, what did success look like to you 15 years ago when you started all your entrepreneur stuff, and what does success look like to you now? Because I know they're different.
Oh yeah. See, at first I wanted the money. Give me the money, give me the chains, give me the watches, give me the cars. Oh, I'm going crazy. I want the vacations. I wanted all of that. Yeah. I was living out of my ego.
It's good.
Right? There's three people in every person. There's your logic person, your spirit person, and your ego person. And you choose which one you decide deals with every situation. My ego person was alive and well and kicking at that point in time with what I want. And I had it. I've made a lot of money in my lifetime, and I've lost a lot of money in my lifetime. The difference was, so I've had success on 3 different occasions. Had it early on, early 20s, immediately when I started out, and then I went through a dry spell where I had to go through the wilderness. And then I had it again about the time I was 26, 27. And that's when I was trying to do everything for my logical self.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With a little bit of that ego. And now my success is aligned with my spirit self, man.
And what does that look like now?
I just want to I want to remain financially sound so that I can become the best husband possible.
Yeah.
The best father possible. I want to be able to take the time that I need to continue to invest into myself spiritually on a daily basis. I want to continue to invest in others so that they could be the best that they can be. My spirit person wants a more peaceful success that's not loud and boastful and flashy.
That's good.
I still like the nicer things. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like everyone else. I still like the nicer things, but it does not validate me.
That's good.
It is not how I determine or measure success.
I love that, and I agree with that totally. Mine is my current perception of success is freedom. Time freedom is a big one. It's what I'm able to give back when it comes to time and money. My wife and I are, and I'm not trying to say this to pat myself on the back, but very generous with what we have. You know what I mean? Like whether it comes to church or people or donating to, you know what I mean? Like we love. That's when, and there's selfish ambitions to that too. Like it makes me feel good to help other people. Like it really does. Like, so that's something I get. So there's both sides to that. You know what I mean? But yeah, my definition of success is for my son to be healthy and happy. It's not, I drive, I drive a regular truck. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's nice and it's clean, but I drive a regular truck. I drive a regular truck. I mean, all the guys I work with are driving $100,000 Denali trucks, and I've been fighting with myself over the past couple of months. Like I want to go get a, freaking awesome truck like that. But in my heart's like, no, Shawn, just relax. You know what I mean? Like you got other things that are more important to do first. So I still struggle with that. Like I'm in constant daily argument with that ego as, you know what I mean?
Can I be honest with you on that though? You got to think about the times that we're living in. As far as on a business scale, on the business side of things. Yeah. We're not living in a time where your product is what's going to put you on top. It's a popularity contest. People, they associate, because that's who we're approaching and who we're offering our service to, the people. We can still keep our morals intact while having nice things and appealing to the clientele that we're appealing to. Yeah. And if that's what they're looking for, that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for the big, when I'm getting my roof done, you see the big nice Denali out there with F4 wrapped all over it. They're going to take videos of it. They're going to take pictures of it. It's going all over social media. And they're going to attach themselves to that. It's a lifestyle choice for them to choose you at that point in time. So please, I just want to say, don't feel guilty for I see what you're saying. For doing what's needed in order to, and yeah, you're going to get some pleasures out of it. You're not working that hard to not have pleasures out of what you're doing. Yeah, and you can keep your morals intact at the same time.
I respect that. That makes sense. All right, last question, okay? This is my favorite one. We ask every single person that's ever been on this podcast. If you could give Anvalon at 16 years old one piece of advice, what would it be?
Choose you. Bet on you. You are enough. And that's all wrapped up into one. I spent a lot of time in my younger years with a distorted self-image. I aimed to please everybody else. It never fed me. Go the God way.
It's good.
It has way more benefits than trying to do it the other way. And when I say choose you and pour into you,
yeah,
man, take your time. If you truly want a roadmap for life, read the Bible.
That's good. That's the best advice you can.
It is the roadmap for every single thing that you could ever deal with in life.
It's all in there.
It's right there.
That's really good.
Choose you by pouring into you. And that is going to teach you all the integrity things you need. It's going to help you heal those character flaws. It's going to help you heal that distorted self-image. You're going to be filled in a way that you've never been filled before. You don't have to have that void. You don't have to learn all those life experiences and be hurt and harmed in all these ways by trying to be validated by people. You'll be validated by...
That's so good, dude.
By God.
That's really good. That's really good advice. Real quick, can you give everyone, let them know, on social media, how they can find you and just stuff like that?
Definitely. Follow me online at I Am Anvalon on TikTok, on Instagram, and it's Anvalon Elliot on Facebook. ANVALON ELLIOTT.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good information, y'all. So remember, if you don't mind, if you could just like the podcast or share the podcast with somebody or leave us a review or a comment or anything, would be awesome to really help us get this content out. But most importantly, remember that you're loved and you're forgiven and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.